Hello YouTube gun people. This is a video response from my good buddy lambdog76. First of all, let me just start out by saying I like Lambdog's channel. I've been a sub to his channel for a long time. There's a lot of things I like about him. Now, I don't know him personally. For all I know, it could be a complete mental case. But there's a lot of things I do admire about the channel. One of the major things is he seems to be a fellow that is rather contemplative in life, and is interested in striving to find the higher meaning of things and really think things through. What's it all about kind of questions. I think that's good. I think that's an admirable quality. So he recently watched, apparently, watched a video of mine called YouTube Gun Community Reality Check, and that's good. I'm glad he's watching. I respect his opinion, and he called me out on a couple things that I'd like to clarify, and I think it's totally fair. I don't have a problem with it, actually. It's good to be called out on things. It keeps you from talking bullshit, really. In both of those videos, I expressed my opinion, and I think it's actually correct, that your constitutional rights, or let's just stick to constitutional rights, are kind of contingent upon some sets of rules, and those would be what I would consider responsibility. Lambdog felt that his rights were absolute, and that his right, for instance, for the Second Amendment was actually protected to a greater degree, or this is my interpretation of what you said, Lambdog, protected to a greater degree because his right to defend himself was actually translated or also was represented as sort of being an instrument of the state. I tend to disagree with that. Your rights are they're rights for an individual. Constitutional rights are rights for the individual. They're not a right for you to be acting on behalf of somebody else. They're just not. So I guess I disagree with that. The other thing is what that right to carry means, or any of your rights, freedom of speech too, whatever. It doesn't. This goes for all your rights. I'm a big proponent of people understanding that all of your rights come with responsibilities, and the proof is simply that if you abuse those rights, you will lose them. So if you act irresponsibly, you will lose them. So you don't have to think about the Second Amendment. Let's just think about the right to freedom of speech. Now, freedom of speech doesn't mean you can go around and say anything you want to anybody at any time behind their back. That's why we have things called libel and slander, right? And you can't go into downtown Boston and start up on your soapbox and preach violence or anything like that, right? You can't. You have to. You're free. All your rights are somehow not limited, but there are sets of guidelines that people follow, and those guidelines are theoretically formed through the moral compass of a civilization or society. That was my point. So when you talk about gun rights and you're going to carry your gun, you're going to be a concealed carry weapons holder. That's fine, but you have responsibilities in terms of really understanding the intricacies of it, and it's very complicated. It really is. You have to really take a look very closely at your local laws. If you're not one that's a real self-motivated person to do that, then go take a really good firearms course to discuss what your local laws might be and limitations, etc. Now, let me just clarify something. I think all constitutional rights are absolutely important, and I agree with all of them, and there are certainly people that are willing to challenge these laws all the time. They really are. My personal belief is that they should all be upheld, and I'll tell you this. I also think if you're a politician and you are directly challenging rights, for instance, you want to take away people's Second Amendment rights, you should be kicked out of office. I'm all for more rights. If you want to have more rights, that's good. If you want to have less rights, then don't run for office in this country. That's my opinion on it. The more rights, the better. Now, having said that, I also find it ironic that there are many people out there that think some things that are not a right are in fact a right. Now, I don't want to get into a big pro-life kind of argument or anything like that. I'm not even going to give you my personal opinion on the subject. But abortion's not a right. People think that's a right. Right? They've convinced themselves that that's a right. It's not a right. It's not in the Constitution. But politicians will run on that platform, either pro or against. It's not even in the Constitution. And on the other hand, they'll say, I want to take away your Second Amendment rights, or effectively be taking away or severely restricting your Second Amendment rights. What I always find about restriction of Second Amendment rights is these are the same people that are part of a failing governmental system that will not undertake what's necessary to address real societal issues that cause problems, for instance, like gun violence. Okay. Yeah, it's an important issue. It is an important issue, and I respect Lambdog for raising it. The other issue you brought up is if I don't like a YouTuber, why don't I just name him? We got to get to know each other better, buddy, as I do. So there's plenty of YouTubers out there that I've left comments on your channel that are just honest. They're not meant to be saying that anything personal. Like I think your Argyle socks are ugly. I mean, I'm not. It's not a personal insult. It's just I think I'm commenting on what I'm seeing. I thought that's what YouTube's all about. And now people do it to me too. Sometimes I don't mind it. If you start getting personal, start calling people an asshole or jack off or whatever, then you just dismiss that. It's not a person that wants to have a debate with you. And remember, some debates are not so easy and they're tough, but we all walk away as friends, right? So there are YouTubers I don't like. I think people know very well YouTubers I'm not a big fan of. The one that comes to mind recently is certainly weapons education. I just find the whole thing to be perverse. I find the whole crowd of people that are blindly being led by this guy to be somewhat disappointing. Some of them are definitely not people that I thought they were. Which brings me to my next point, which is the most important. YouTube is not the real world. What? What's that you say? YouTube is not the real world. It's not. It's not. Go out into the real world and you'll see it's not. Now, we have the YouTube gun community. There's a YouTuber that kind of stepped back. His first name's Connor. He's a really bright guy, and I miss him on YouTube. He said it best in a recent lambdog comment that YouTube gun community, basically to paraphrase, because he can say it better than I, some of the most antisocial fuckers he's ever seen, and he wouldn't leave him alone in a room with his kid. I tend to agree with that, but the good news is I don't think that's the way it is in real life. I mean, there are some people in the gun community that are in it for really bizarre reasons, but that's true for anybody. You know, I mean, some vegetarians are in it for real weird reasons. I mean, even above and beyond just being vegetarian. But anyway, the good news is that YouTube's not the real world. YouTube allows you to hide away behind a computer keyboard and become something you're not. I think when you get, I'm happy to say my shooting experience has been overwhelmingly positive, and that people that are actively engaged in the sports are enthusiastic, welcoming, and by and large decent human beings. They are. I'm happy to say that. Not so much for gun club politics, because gun club politics are, well, we'll do a separate video on that. Gun club politics are interesting. Anyway, the other issue was a recent video from Lambdog. So Lambdog, this is kind of a smattering of issues, all brought to my attention by you or through your videos that again I enjoy. This video response to this guy, Mr. 5.56 videos. I watched that video that you were commenting on. I think it's much to do about nothing. You know, he's a fellow. I've commented on one of his videos about open carry. I told him I didn't think it was a good idea. I don't honestly remember what I actually said, but I do remember restraining myself for writing that comment and trying to be polite. His reaction to it was I removed your comment. I'm sick of fighting with people like you on YouTube. Let's see. I actually have a laptop here for reloading, so let's just pick him up real quick. Let's see. What the boys say. Stop watching these videos if you don't like what we do. Okay. I removed your last comment because I'm 100% done with fighting with people on the internet. Make your own video with your views and fight with people on your channel. Okay. So I just said, no worries, I unsubbed. And grow up before your pretty wife gets hurt. And seriously. His response was, sounds like you're the one that needs to grow up just because you're old. I am kind of old, but not you know, not as old as you think, Mr. 5.56. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're grown up. It's funny you would unsub to show how grown up you are. It's okay, I was about to remove you anyway. I have wasted enough time with morons on YouTube. You're the one that needs to grow up. Okay, so, brother, tell me, why are you going to bat for somebody that puts themselves out there in a often untenable position and then gets all worked up when people make a comment? This is basically somebody that's not interested in having a conversation. They want to tell you how it is, and you agree or get out. And this is also a person, I understand from a recent video about his channels that I've watched, that's claimed to have drawn a weapon on twice on an unarmed female. One time, my understanding, I don't know for sure, and I'm willing to retract all these comments, but this is the rumor. He once pulled a gun on somebody that was in his house, unarmed. They were unarmed. And then I guess it was sort of they got cut off, or somebody got cut off in a car, kind of a road rage incident, pulled a gun. What? Yeah. So, anyway, I'm kind of at a loss for trying to understand the defense. You might like his videos or whatever. It seems to be, well, let's just forget that. So I don't kind of get it, and I kind of responded to your video. I responded to it. I saw your video, watched his video, and my whole thing was kind of, I feel sorry for the guy, honestly. I mean, he's just taking it way too serious. So, lastly, YouTube gun community reality check videos. I'll be having a lot more of them up, regardless of what anybody says. The attitude in those videos will basically be, basic whatever I want to do. Now, you want me to do it in a more positive way? No. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, people have their different ways of approaching subjects, you deliver your message, I'll deliver mine, and I think we both have good messages to deliver. I really want to be very clear about one thing. When I talk about the Second Amendment, whatever constitutional right is, I really mean it, what I'm saying. I'm not doing it to be sensational. I'm not saying it because it's the cool thing to say. And I'm not saying it based on opinion that's carved out of an isolated and limited understanding of the issue. Okay? I'm saying it because it's important, and I'm trying to understand what these rights mean in the context of a civilized society, in the context of an educated society, and in the context of protection of all other rights. And that is all. Other than that, I sit here on a fine morning getting ready to go to the range and do what I love to do, and loading 100 rounds in Massachusetts to stick it to the man.